So Bernie is out with a bunch of new ads now post Super Tuesday. The campaign is being very strategic, and there is a lot to learn about what they're doing. I think there are ways they can improve the message. I think there are ways they have already improved the message. So this ad, I believe, is playing in Florida. It might be playing elsewhere as well. I think there are 6 states that vote next Tuesday. And this ad I know is playing in Florida. I'm not sure if they targeted it to any other states, but they may have. And those decisions are made based on a lot of information, a lot of data as to how the ads would play in certain places. But anyway, here's the ad. It's Bernie is now taking a page out of Warren's book and taking a page out of Bloomberg's book. And, I mean, Biden's whole campaign has been based on this. He's showing everybody here, whoa. They're all saying, oh, Obama loves them. Obama's wonderful. Okay, well, I got that too. Take a look.
Bernie is somebody who has the virtue of saying exactly what he believes, great authenticity, great passion, and is fearless. Bernie served on the Veterans Committee and got bills done. I think people are ready for a call to action. They want honest leadership who cares about them. They want somebody who's going to fight for them. And they will find it in Bernie. That's right, feel the burn.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
Now, that ad is made to appeal to normie Democrats in places where populism struggles a little bit. Now, where does populism work? Populism works in any area that is middle class or lower income. The only places in the country where populism doesn't work are upper middle class and upper income folks. Those are the only demographic groups that are non-responsive to populism. So we have to be intelligent moving forward, particularly because Bernie is struggling with a couple demographic groups now that all the votes are coming in. In the polls, he wasn't, but in reality, he is underperforming among like normie Democrats, suburbanites. All the suburbanites are going to Biden right now. Rural white voters and older black voters. That's who he's struggling with. He's doing phenomenally well with young people. He's doing phenomenally well with Latinos. But he's struggling in some very clear demographics. And so in Florida, there are a lot of that demographic that Bernie has not appealed to. So you have to craft a message that's going to make them realize what I've been screaming for the past few days, which is, whoa. Bernie's the more electable candidate. Biden's not electable. Bernie's the moderate. He's the centrist. Joe Biden is the extremist with the Iraq war and Social Security cuts and the outsourcing deals. So, like, it's important that people understand that, because a lot of the polls show almost everybody agrees with Bernie on the substance, but then they hesitate in voting for him. So they need that permission. Like, it's okay. Go ahead. And Barack Obama, even though, in my opinion, and we can get into it, but even though, in my opinion, he has a very mixed record, his approval rating is over 60% in the country. His approval rating with Democrats is preposterously high. So this is Bernie saying to people like, whoa, hold on here. This idea that I'm like, I'm unelectable and I'm scary and I'm extreme. Well, did you think Barack Obama was extreme? Because he's a fan. So that's what he's doing there. Now, in terms of Barack Obama's record, I think I've done my best to be as objective as possible and as nuanced as possible when talking about his record. So there are plenty of good things that Barack Obama did. Normalizing relations with Cuba was 100% correct. The Iran deal was 100% correct. And we're seeing what happens when an administration goes in the opposite direction right now with the neocon war hawks leading the Trump administration. We're on a war footing with Iran. I hate that. In his second term in office, Barack Obama kept freeing nonviolent drug offenders. That was good. He raised the minimum wage for federal workers. That was good. So he's done some things that are good. But it's also true that, He bailed out Wall Street, which he shouldn't have done. He bailed out GM, which is good, but he bailed out Wall Street, which he definitely shouldn't have done. He stacked his administration with people from a list that Citigroup gave him, which is unacceptable. He made a strong percentage of the Bush tax cuts permanent. Now, thankfully, a lot of those tax cuts were on the lower end, so it's not as egregious as it sounds. But yes, in many ways, he was not good. He increased our wars. He ran on getting out of at least Iraq, and by the time he got out of office, we were bombing 8 countries. So, that's horrendous, and that's unacceptable. He also was pushing TPP. He wanted to do another trade deal, which would have further decimated manufacturing in this country. So, and guys, listen, that's one of the reasons why this ad is running in frickin' Florida and it's not running in Michigan. In Michigan, Bernie's talking about how, hey, I opposed all those trade deals and Biden supported them. So the struggle that Bernie Sanders has now is appealing to the groups that are now breaking late for Biden. Because remember, the suburbanites were split. Okay, I like Amy Klobuchar. Okay, I like Mayor Pete. Okay, I like Biden. I like Bloomberg. But now with all them gone, unfortunately, they are coalescing behind Biden. Now, I wouldn't have known that was possible because the dude literally has dementia, so I would have thought many of them would stay home or some of them would go to Bernie or whatever it may be. But no, they're all going to Biden. So it's not enough for Bernie to just shore up his base. He also has to expand the coalition, get back those rural whites that he's lost, and get some suburbanites, which is why Crystal Ball of Rising did a segment the other day saying, hey, listen, you might not like it, but if Bernie were to give the VP to Elizabeth Warren's demographic are the college-educated liberals, the suburbanites. That's who Bernie needs to bring to the coalition. So even though with everything she's done and really, put her middle finger up to the progressive base, that would be a move that would kind of help out, demographically speaking. So there are all these, it's a difficult thing to do now because what I think is the case, and I don't know this for sure, just to be clear, but what I think is the case is that Bernie's team was banking on in a similar thing happening in the Democratic primary as happened in the 2016 GOP primary, which is there are too many establishment figures splitting the establishment vote for any of them to do well. But what the Democratic establishment proved at the last minute is that they're actually a hell of a lot more organized than the Republican establishment was in 2016. And that's why they all dropped out at the last minute and endorsed Biden. By the way, there's reports that Obama made the phone calls to Mayor Pete and to Amy Klobuchar and said, hey, listen, we got ourselves a little bit of a predicament here, if you know what I'm saying. So maybe you drop out and throw your support behind this guy and we'll make you an offer you can't refuse. The mafia boss of the Democratic Party. And, cleared that path for Biden. So they're more organized, and now Bernie has a tougher path. Because if the race stayed as is, let's say Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar stayed in for Super Tuesday, the original prediction for Super Tuesday would have held up, which is namely Bernie's worst case scenario was winning 8 states out of 14 contests, which would put him on path to a plurality where nobody else could get a plurality. And maybe even he would win more than 8 states, which would put him on pace to a majority. They didn't want to roll the dice on that. They wanted to still make it possible that somebody else could win a plurality. This guy. So that's what we're up against, just so everybody understands. That's what we're up against. And they cleared the path. Biden got a lot of that support. And so Bernie's in a tough predicament because he has to try to get some of the normie Democrats on his side to win from here. And so the message needs to be just right. And that's what he's trying to do with this Obama ad. And I like it. And he should have run it earlier against Biden. He should have gone negative on Biden earlier, even though they had data saying that, hey, that might not be the best move because you don't want to alienate the people who might come to Bernie. But now you're in a primary. Now it's one-on-one. You definitely have to do it. You have to make the distinctions. And listen, the other thing is that the next debate can't come quick enough. Can't come quick enough. Because, Bernie's going to destroy Biden. He can't speak in coherent sentences. What do you think's going to happen? Bernie's a pretty solid debater. I might have a couple issues with him here and there, but he's a pretty good debater. Ask Hillary Clinton. A guy who was supposed to win 0 states won 22. Got like 47% of the vote. That doesn't happen willy-nilly. And, Biden used to be a good debater, but now he's a shell of his former self. So I hope that next debate comes quickly. But Bernie's team is being intelligent. They're being strategic. And now I like what I see. I wish this would have started a little bit earlier, though.